StudyHouse.com.
Hi students, I hope everybody is enjoying the one shot series. Okay, in the one shot series we have studied related topic, whatever the topic we are going to study, that related topic I am telling you, mole concept. Okay, first one shot video, mole concept, then after that redox and equivalent factor. Those two one shot videos are very much necessary to study this. Today we are going to study titration. Okay, titration, if we are studying independently, there is no use. Without the knowledge of mole concept, without the knowledge of uh, that previous chapter, what is that, redox reaction and equivalent factor, redox reaction, equivalent factor, mole concept, after going those two chapters only one shot, then you can identify, you can understand the titration. Okay, and these videos being one shot will be very lengthy. It is not necessary that you will be attempting directly, okay, continuously, because you may lose interest, then there is no use of the studying continuously. Okay, at the end of this session I am discuss this recent 2020 question also, 2020 question also. So doing the questions till the last is very much essential, otherwise no use. Only to studying the theory, you will not be able to solve the questions. I hope you will continue till the last. If required, you can take a 5 to 10 minutes break in between and you can continue from that. Okay, so get set, ready for the titrations. Okay, today we are going to complete the titration topic. Even though it is lengthy topic and most important topic, so let us complete with the along with the practice. Okay, let us try to complete in along with the practice also. So first of all, basic meaning and types we are going to discuss, and along with wherever it is required, I will give you additional information like what are the ions, what is their equivalent factor. Already it is covered in the previous lecture only. Equivalent factor, how to find out the equivalent factor. Okay, now let us start with the titration. Okay, so titration is basically the method of finding out. Titration is the method of finding out concentration. Titration is method of finding out concentration of unknown substance or solution with unknown concentration. Solution with unknown concentration by using another solution or substance. By using another substance or solution with known concentration. With known concentration. By using another substance oblique solution with known concentrations. Okay, so that is the basic. That means we to find out one concentration of one substance, you have to have another substance or another solution which can react with that substance, as well as its concentration must be known. Okay, so that process is called as a titration. Okay, so these are the maximum number. You refer any books. Okay, you will find maximum to maximum these many titrations only, and some books may have part of this and some books may have full of this. Okay, so, but I don't think anything is left over other than this titration topic. If you find, you can kindly intimate me so that I can update myself. Okay. First of all, the simple titrations, simple redox titration. It may not be clear as of now. That's why I am reading out, and individually once we study, then heading and everything will be clear. This is just to give you a overlook. overlook about the what we are going to study in this lecture. Okay, so simple redox titrations are further divided into reductimetry, oxidimetry. Okay, these examples I am going to cover and in detail I am going to explain. Then iodometry and iodimetry. Next, back titration. Next to double titration. Double titration. Double titration is further divided into three types. Titration between NaOH and Na2CO3, NaOH and NaHCO3, Na2CO3 and NaHCO3. Next, acid-base titration. Acid-base titration. Okay. If time permits, we will complete this. Otherwise, we will complete it in the ionic equilibrium. Okay. So these are the topic we are going to study. Now let's start with the one by one. First, let us know about the what is redox titration. Okay. What is redox titration and what is the difference between oxidometry and reductometry? Simple redox titration. But this studying this topic is of no use if you don't know. If you don't know how to find out equivalent factor and what is equivalent factor. So if you missed out that lecture, then you will be definitely having doubts. Okay. And in this 1 day lecture, it is may not be possible until unless you spend some extra time and some revision is required on that topic. Okay. So these are all interlinked topic. Understood? So redox titration in this one, suppose unknown solution. There is a substance with the unknown concentration. Okay. Unknown concentration substance is A and we should be using B. That B should be known concentration. Okay. Known concentration. And they should be able to interreact with each other. These are the two conditions for selecting the B. The criteria for selecting the B is B concentration should be known and B should be able to react with A. Okay. So as I told here it is we are going to study as a first part redox titration. Remaining parts also there but redox titration. So if it is unknown concentration is of oxidizing agent, then we should select reducing agent because it will satisfy this condition only in that state. If this is also oxidizing agent, this is also oxidizing agent, then there is no use of, there is no reaction. Anyhow, there is no permanent oxidizing agent, there is no permanent reducing agent. Always a substance B can be oxidizing agent in front of A, but the same substance can be reducing agent in front of some other substance C. There is no substance which is permanent oxidizing agent. That depends on the comparative oxidizing power and reducing power. Oxidizing and reducing power are determined with the help of the reduction potential. Comparing the oxidizing power and reducing power, already it is done in the electrochemistry. How to identify which is which is anode, which is cathode once reducing potentials are given, that are already covered. Okay, if you have doubt, then you can go through that lecture. Understood? Type electrochemistry, and there you will find out electrochemical cells. In electrochemical cells, you will find out how to identify anode. Understood? So anode means oxidation. Oxidation means oxidizing potential. Oxidizing power is more. Okay. So this is the way to select the B. Understood? Now, if the substance whose concentration is unknown, if you are using by a reducing agent, reductometry. If you are using by oxidizing agent, then it is called reductometry. This is about the redox titration. This is about the redox titration. So I will be giving you some details about the oxidizing and reducing agent with some examples with some reactions. Okay, there are lot of oxidizing and reducing agent. I will be covering most of them. So here MnO4. Why I am taking MnO4 is this 2020 advanced question was regarding the second question of the second paper itself is regarding the MnO4 only. Most of the time you will find question from MnO4. Okay, so first you should study about this. After that, H2O2, the concentration will be on the H2O2. H2O2 also can act as oxidizing agent and reducing agent. Okay, so you may not find in NCRT at this place, but in hydrogen and its compound you will find these equations, and in D block you will find these equations. So in all NCRT only, it is available in NCRT only. But according to our required topic, we have to collect the things and study in that format. Okay. So MnO4 acidic, neutral, and basic. ALB. Okay, 531. And C. Neutral means water. Okay. This reaction also very important because for balancing it is highly important, and product is MnO2. Okay. Acidic H plus 5 electron. It will be converted to Mn2 plus. MnO4 minus in basic. Basic means OH. Okay. One thing you have to remember, if it is weakly basic, okay, then you should count it as a neutral. We can count it as a neutral only. Okay, weakly basic or neutral is same, and in basic medium there is no role of the OH minus. You should remember that only one electron, therefore equivalent factor will be 1, and permanganate will be converted into manganate. This product is manganate, this is permanganate. Okay, now note down this, then we will go for the H2O2, then followed by potassium dichromate. Okay. Okay, next important oxidizing and reducing agent. The advantage of H2O2. What was the advantage of KMnO4? It can act as a oxidizing agent in all medium. Okay. So all acidic, basic and neutral, but that oxidizing power is not same, and equivalent factor is not same, equivalent weight is not same. Okay, based on that also question may come, increasing order of equivalent weight. So in the equivalent weight, increasing order means equivalent factor should be lowest. Equivalent factor is lowest in the basic medium. Like that, equivalent weight, they are asking about the, first of all, people are not able to, in the exam tension, they are forgetting about increasing, decreasing order. Okay. This will happen with you also at this peaceful time. You may think that it is very easy. Okay. Increasing, decreasing, and people are losing concentration, whether they are asking on the basis of equivalent factor or equivalent weight. Okay. So equivalent factor is higher, then equivalent weight will be lower. So you have to be very careful with the words. Okay. So in that 1 hour or 2 hours or 3 hours, your presence of mind makes a lot of difference. 2.5 years of study, you are going to perform, show your ability, presence of mind, decision making, sequence of selecting question. All these factors are going to affect your career. Okay. So advantage of KMnO4 is it can act as a oxidizing agent in all medium, but disadvantage is it can never act as a reducing agent. Okay. And H2O2. H2O2 is advantageous that it can act as oxidizing agent as well as reducing agent. And one more advantage as a student, you need not to remember so many values. Everywhere equivalent factor, whether it is acting as a reducing agent, whether it is acting as oxidizing agent, equivalent factor is going to be same. How much it is? It is equal to 2. Okay. And how you will identify whether it is a reducing agent or oxidizing agent. Okay, simple. If it is a reducing agent, it should undergo oxidation. It should undergo oxidation. Oxidation means loss of electron. Electron loss means on the right side. Okay, right side. Understood? Simple. You will remember OR, oxidation right side. OR means oxidation right side. So once it is oxidation right side, then it will act as a reducing agent. Any substance which is acting as a reducing agent will undergo oxidation. Any substance which is undergoing oxidation will act as a reducing agent and vice versa. Okay. See here, I am saying oxidizing agent. That means it should undergo reduction. Reduction means gain of electron. It is on the left side of the arrow, and but electrons are two only. Equivalent factor will be two, and electrons on the right side two only. That's why equivalent factor will be two. Okay, so that is the advantage of H2O2 over the KMnO4. Okay, next is hypo S2O3 thiosulfate. Okay, thiosulfate S2O3. It is also called as a hypo, and these are all we are going to use in the numericals. If you neglect here, don't write and just take a screenshot, then it is definitely going to affect in the time sense. Okay, so make a important and short notes. Your handwritten notes are going to be savior before the examination. Okay, if you take screenshot and read, and if you write and read, there is a lot of difference while revising. Now it may not be, it will be very comfortable now, but before the examination you will feel difficulty. Once you write on with your own handwriting, there will be some recollecting will be very easy. Okay, so reducing agent, then 2s2o3, 2 minus gives s4o6, 2 electron. See, I am writing 2 electron, but equivalent factor is 1. It is not mistaken written. It is see, 2 moles, 2 electrons. So 1 mole will be 1 electron only. Actually, it is dimerization. That's why I have to use 2 moles here for balancing 2 and S4O6. Is it understood? Next, chlorine. This there are special numericals last year. Last year there was advanced question combined 17th group bleaching powder. There is a topic available chlorine. Okay, and that is acting as oxidizing agent. That's why I'm specially mentioning here. So from bleaching powder, that Cl2 what we are obtaining is from bleaching powder. Okay, so Cl2 oxidizing agent, Cl2 plus 2 electron gives 2 Cl minus, so equivalent factor is 2. And potassium dichromate, even though it is very powerful, but it is having a disadvantage. It can act as oxidizing agent only in acidic medium. No oxidizing agent in basic medium, no oxidizing agent in neutral medium. Potassium dichromate converts into chromium 3 plus. Here each chromium is having plus 6 oxidation number. It is changing to plus 3. So change by the 3, but 2 is here. So multiplied by 2, 6. So that's why equivalent factor is how much? 6. Okay. Equivalent factor of potassium dichromate is 6 and act as oxidizing agent only in acidic medium. Okay, next is pyrolusite. Pyrolusite, if they mention, you will not be able to answer. But it is not in advanced syllabus, it is in the board syllabus. How it is? It is mentioned in the D block extraction of manganese, pyrolusite ore. Okay, so whatever I am teaching, it is exclusively right from the board exam, but projection is to in the form of the advanced. Understood? So in the board exam, what they may ask, what is the source of, what is the ore of the manganese or potassium permanganate, then pyrolusite. But in advanced, same thing is written as a pyrolusite, but it is interlinked with the redox reaction. Okay, pyrolusite or MnO2 is oxidizing agent and act as a oxidizing agent. Therefore, it will undergo reduction by accepting 2 electron and forms Mn2 plus. Okay, so equivalent factor is equal to 2. And ferrous will be converted to ferric by losing 1 electron. So oxidation, therefore it is a reducing agent. Okay. Okay, iodometry and iodimetry both are interchangeable because iodine can convert from I minus to I2 and I2 to I minus. That's why this is studied together, iodometry and iodimetry. Okay, and here the titrating solution in this iodometry and iodimetry, titrating solution will be hypo. Hypo is a commercial name and it is Na2S2O3 dot 5H2O. So all of you should practically solve this molecular mass. It is going to be useful. I can give you, but if I am sure that if I give you, you will think that need not to solve. Okay. If you solve and write, then it retentivity in your brain will be more. Okay. So this have got lot of questions because of the lot of uses. Okay. In the estimation of copper sulfate, that is in finding out the concentration of copper sulfate, in finding out the concentration of copper sulfate, it is used. Okay. How it is used? See, CuSO4 plus Ki, I minus is converting into I2. There is no change in the oxidation number of all four iodine. Okay, four iodide are there, but two are remaining same and two are changing. Understood? Now there is one more thing, peculiar thing you should remember and observe is CuSO4. It is not completely reducing. It is changing from cupric to cuprous. So people have a habit of equivalent factor of copper sulfate is 2. That's why I am specially mentioning. Okay. So these are all things will be very easy and easy to understand when you attend the complete class. If you take screenshot that equivalent factor is 2, that I am not writing here. Is it understood? So equivalent factor of copper sulfate changes with the change in the reaction. Okay, even procedure also changes. Okay, like oxalic acid, I will take this example here itself so that in future it should not be a problem. Okay, H2C2O4, it basic problem with the oxalic acid is it is acid as well as oxidizing or reducing agent also. Okay, see, once it decomposes to convert to CO2. Okay, and as an acid it is used, then suppose it is a dibasic acid NaHC2O4. Okay, so in this direction we will use the acid base titration. Okay, in this procedure we will use the redox titration. The procedure itself is same, and we will be concentrating in this reaction from the oxidation number of carbon. In this direction we will be deciding with respect to the number of hydrogen replaced. So very careful with the equivalent factor. It is not fixed. Okay, it will change. So while writing the answer, you should think in the direction of the reaction. Here the direction of reaction is copper is changing from cupric to cuprous. Therefore, it will be plus 2 to plus 1. Equivalent factor is equal to how much? 1. Is that clear? In estimation of copper sulfate, whenever it is word is used, you will take the equivalent factor as 1. Okay. So next is in the estimation of iodine. This is very important out of all. Okay. You can write leave space here itself and write 5 times. There is no harm in writing 5 times in the piece. Okay. The more you sweat in the piece, the less you bleed in the war. This is a saying and it is applicable here also. The more you practice in before the examination, the less time you are going to take in the examination. Okay, so many times this question is coming, so that much importance is there. Okay, so I2 plus Na2S2O3 gives 2NaI plus Na2S4O6. Okay, here 2 moles are there. One student is asking, so how to consider electron or oxidation number? Both are same, but only thing is per mole you will take in equivalent factor. Suppose here 2 moles, 2 electrons, but equivalent factor will be for 1 mole. So 2 electron divided by 2, that 1. Okay. Mostly 1 mole only will calculate in 1 or 2 cases, like in the previous condition also I told, for 2 moles for balancing I have to do that. Okay. So oxidation number, if it is losing 2 electrons, means oxidation number increases by 2. Okay. If the 2 electrons are lost from 2 moles, then 1 mole will losing 1 electron. Therefore, equivalent factor will be 1. Okay. Next, in the estimation of ClO minus, okay, hypochlorous. What is this? Hypochlorous. Okay. Next, ClO minus plus 2I minus plus 2H plus. Okay. So even if you write this as a separate reaction, electrons how much will be there? See, before reaction it is -2, and to keep the -1, it will be +1. Okay, +1 to -1. Change in oxidation number will be how much? 2. So equivalent factor will be 2. And if I write in the reaction also, it will be like this. ClO minus gives Cl minus plus 2 electrons. Okay. So this is undergoing reduction. Therefore, electron will be on the left side. 2 electron. Understood? Like this, the answer will be. For balancing, you have to write H2O like that. Okay. Electrons and oxidation number are same. Simply the definition itself says loss of electron is oxidation. Number of electron lost will be, number of electrons will be increasing. If it is losing, increasing oxidation number, and decreasing electrons adding, that means decrease in oxidation number. Iodo means iodine, iod, iodide. Okay. IDE, when you will use I minus. Okay. Iodine, that means I2. So change between I2 to I minus and I minus to I2. That is what the difference between iodometry, iodimetry. Okay. Anyhow, interchange will be between I2 to I minus. Here I minus to I2. Okay. Iodine, iodide to iodine, and iodine to iodide. That's why it is called as iodometry and iodimetry. That is the difference. Okay. Potassium dichromate, here equivalent factor I think you can find out 6. Okay. So note down this, then we will go further. Okay, next, in estimation of ozone, this is also very important. Not in this direction. That there is a topic called as tailing of mercury. Okay, so ozone, when it is flown through the mercury, it will start sticking onto the walls. That is called as a ozone, tailing of mercury. It is used to detect the ozone, presence of ozone. Ozone is there or not, just by keeping the mercury in that place. If it starts sticking onto the glass walls, then it is called as a tailing of mercury. Okay. And but they, after detecting ozone is present or not, the next step is estimation. If it is available, how much it is available, done by this method. Okay. So O3 plus 6I minus, C, iodine, I minus is converting to iodine. Okay. So equivalent factor will be ozone, see, 0 to -2. Okay. And 3 moles, here 3 is there, so equivalent factor will be 6. Likewise, H2O2 equivalent factor is 2. Okay. Okay, next, in the estimation of chlorine from bleaching powder. Okay, bleaching powder is CaOCl2 plus H2O gives CaOH whole twice plus Cl2. Cl2 plus 2Ki gives, sorry, 2KCl, okay, plus iodine. So here, how much iodine is there, that we will use hypo. From the hypo, you will find out Cl2. From the Cl2, you will find out CaOCl2. This is what called as a back titration. Okay, back titration means X product is estimated based on this product. We will find out the reactant. In that reactant will be product of some other step, and ultimately we are going to find out how much bleaching powder is there in our stored bleaching powder, because bleaching powder cannot be stored for a long time. After some time it will be converted to calcium chloride or dissociates to give that chlorine. So with the available chlorine, more chlorine available means more CaOCl2 is available in our mixture, that is stored for a longer, cannot not stored for a longer time. Okay. Next in MnO2. MnO2 is a part of the pyrolusite ore. Okay, but once I say ore means there will be gong. What will be there? There will be gong. So how in the gong, how much is the gong and how much is the ore? In the gong, how much is the ore and how much is the gong to identify MnO2. Here main metal or main ore, main compound we wanted to find out is MnO2. Okay. MnO2 plus 4HCl gives MnCl2 plus Cl2 plus 2H2O. Okay. So Cl2 plus 2Ki gives KCl plus iodine. Same way iodine, by using the iodine you will find out Cl2. With the Cl2 you will find out MnO2. For this what we will use stoichiometry. Everything is interrelated. Everything is interrelated. If you don't study stoichiometry properly, it is going to affect the titration. Okay, whatever the topics we have studied, topic studying and immediately solving the questions. One question you will understand the procedure, second question you will understand able to do, third question you will understand able to do, and fastest. Okay. So I think all of you tried, understood the theory. Let me check whether you will be able to solve it or not. You try to solve, then cross check with my explanation. Okay, 0.5 grams of oxalate was dissolved in water and solution was made to 100 ml. This is impure oxalate, it is not pure oxalate, and it is made to the solution 100 ml, but total 100 ml is not taken. Only 10 ml is taken, and it required 15 ml of KMnO4. Okay, and find the percentage of oxalate in the sample. Okay, very simple. During any titration, basic fundamental equivalents must be same. Okay, equivalent must be same. So here, if you are doing any mistake, N1 V1 is equal to N2 V2. Okay, this is the known substance. This is the known substance. What is that? KMnO4. Okay, and here unknown substance is oxalic acid. Is that understood? So normality, I am finding out 3 by 40. Okay. So N1 V1 is equal to N2 V2. N2 I am finding out it is 3 by 40. And already I have explained normality in the previous lecture of stoichiometry. Okay. Normality is equal to mass upon molecular mass of, equivalent mass of oxalic acid. Equivalent mass will be molecular mass divided by 2, then equivalent mass you will get equivalent mass upon equivalent mass divided by volume into 1000 if volume is in milliliter. Then by using that formula you will get oxalic acid mass as 0.33. Okay, 0.33. So 0.33 is mass, but total substance we have taken is 0.5. So percentage of oxalate in the total 0.5 mixture. Okay. So 0.33 divided by 0.5, it is ratio 0.66. So if I take it as a percentage, then it will be 66 percentage. It will be 66 percentage. Okay. Okay. Next topic is double titration. Next topic is double titration. See, reading is very, very easy, but until unless you don't apply it and practice through the question, there is no use. Okay. So more number of question I expect you to solve, and time taking may be more. You may not understand initially. You have to struggle for it. The more struggle on your own you are doing, then the more result you will get when the question is twisted in the actual exam. Okay. So spoon feeding should be avoided. Spoon feeding should be avoided. Okay. So here, before going for the double titration, there are some topics which I have to cover. from the topic indicators, okay, from ionic equilibrium, Okay, so indicators, there are two types of indicator we are going to use, even though this topic belong to ionic equilibrium, but for even though the topic belong to ionic equilibrium, for understanding this it is required. That's why I am just giving a hint about this. Okay, phenolphthalein indicator is a weak organic acid. It can work in the range of pH range of 8 to 10. Okay, and methyl orange is a weak organic base, and pH range will be between 3.1 to 4.4. Okay, these are all extracted from the ionic equilibrium but utilized in the titration. Okay, see here, suppose we are doing the titration. We are doing the titration by using the phenolphthalein indicator with NaOH. Okay, that is pH range is not concerned. Acid pH range will be in after neutralization, it is going to be base. So pH range of phenolphthalein and methyl orange is not concerned with the acidic or basic nature. It is at what end point it is able to act. Understood? If it is base, then its pH range may be in the acidic range. Okay. So NaOH, when it is used titration with the phenolphthalein, it shows complete neutralization. Monobasic, same way monobasic. Okay. Next, Na to CO3. See, there is a problem. There is no problem and absolutely easy here. You should remember this. If the titration of Na to CO3 with HCl, titration of Na to CO3 with HCl, it is done in presence of phenolphthalein, equivalent factor will be only one sodium will be replaced. After that, this will not work. Okay, then but the same reaction between HCl and Na to CO3 done in presence of methyl orange. See, both sodium will be replaced. Understood? Therefore, equivalents will be 2 here. Okay, here equivalents will be 2. Reactant is same. Here also reactant is same. Here also reactant is same. But indicator, if you are changing phenolphthalein or methyl orange, equivalents will be different. Here half, here 1. Is it understood? 1 mole and half mole. Okay, NaHCO3, sodium bicarbonate. When you use phenolphthalein indicator, there is no reaction. Just previously only half. It is only half reaction will takes place. Other half, once NaHCO3 is formed, phenolphthalein will that will be out of the range of the phenolphthalein indicator. But when it is methyl orange, it can cause the complete neutralization of Na2CO3, Na2CO3 to NaHCO3, then NaCO3 to NaCl. So it will work on the full range. Let it be NaHCO3, let it be Na2CO3. Methyl orange can act because of its pH range. But phenolphthalein can work only during the conversion of Na2CO3 to NaHCO3 only. After that, that range will not permit it to act. Okay. So as of now, whatever I taught, they are the basics required for double titration. Okay. Now, what is double titration? We are going to find out the concentration of two things, a mixture. Okay. So that's why it is called as a double titration. Two, either the mixture will be these two or mixture will be these two. That combination I will tell you. Okay. So for complete titration, for complete neutralization of Na2CO3, XML of HCl is used. Suppose NaHCO3 for complete neutralization, YML of NaHCO3 used, ZML of NaOH used for uh, HCl is used for NaOH. Understood? For complete neutralization of Na2CO3, how much of standard HCl is used? XML. NaCO3 YML. For NaOH, it is ZmL. I am considering and I am directly giving you shortcut formulas so that you can solve them easily. Okay. Okay, now let us say double titration. We are doing the double titration of mixture of NaOH and Na2CO3. Okay, this mixture double titration. Two things are titrated together by using the HCl. Okay, now volume of HCl used. If are using the phenolphthalein indicator from the beginning, it will takes place only in once. Okay, so Z plus X by 2. What is the X? What is Z? Already I told you. And same way for the methyl orange, it can work in the both steps. It can work in the both steps. Okay. That's why starting only I have written here. Complete neutralization takes place and half neutralization takes place. Okay. Phenolphthalein work only for the half. That's why Z plus X by 2. Okay. For this half and for this complete. Understood? Same way for methyl orange. Methyl orange, first it will convert Na2CO3 to NaOH, sorry, NaHCO3. Then also it will again consume. That's why I am written both ways. From the beginning to last, X plus Z. Only after first endpoint. After first endpoint means this is completely neutralized. This is half neutralized. This is converted from Na to CO3. Na2CO3 is converted to NaHCO3, that is called as a first endpoint. First endpoint means NaOH is neutralized, Na2CO3 converted into NaHCO3. After that, we have to add X by 2. We have to add how much? X by 2 moles of HCl. Normally, people are asking, sir, why we take HCl only? Because sulfuric acid is a dehydrating agent, nitric acid is an oxidizing agent. So that's why we will take HCl as a standard. Okay. Okay. Here second double titration is between NaOH and NaSCO3. See, it can be titrated only for one hydrogen. So there is no problem. There will be direct reaction. Okay. So phenolphthalein from beginning, if you are using the titration with the volume of HCl and NaOH and NaCO3, it will be Z. But if you are using the methyl orange initially for this Z and for this Y. After the titration, second endpoint, that means only NaOH is titrated. So this Y will be only for NaHCO3. Okay. Okay, if your third type of double titration, maximum these many type of double titration only you will find. Third combination possible is Na2CO3 and NaHCO3. Okay, first volume of HCl used with phenolphthalein. Phenolphthalein is only for conversion of Na2CO3 to NaCO3. So only one value. But methyl orange is used in the both steps. Okay, that's why I'm writing it separately from the beginning and from the first endpoint. Question may be from based on this. Question may be based on this. If question is based on this x by 2 plus y, if question is based on complete neutralization in methyl orange only, then x plus y. Here it will be x by 2 y because in the first step only Na2CO3 will be converted to NaCO3. That half x by 2 will be first step and after first endpoint second x by 2. Okay. Okay, next is the back titration. It is not any separate titration. Only thing by mistake or deliberately if you add something extra. Okay. Suppose NaOH is titrated. That example also I will be giving with calculation and formulas. NaOH is titrated by HCl. Okay. After neutralization also, after neutralization, we have added 20 ml. Okay. We have added 20 ml extra. Okay. 20 ml was not required, but something extra was available. Okay. NaCl plus H2O and some HCl also extra available. Understood? Then how much of the HCl extra is there, again we will titrate. Okay, so again we will titrate by using some base. Let us take calcium hydroxide. Okay, now with the calcium hydroxide, how much it is used, we will find out how much it is extra. Suppose if we find that 3 ml is extra. Okay, so that means out of 20 ml, 17 ml was used for NaOH. Then in the Na into Va is equal to Nb into Vb. This normally we will take 20 ml, and N2 we want to find out. We will not substitute 20 ml. We will substitute 17 ml. So why this 17 ml? Because even though we added 20 ml initially extra, only 3 ml was left over. That means 17 ml used in the NaOH titration. So this procedure is called as a back titration. It is used when calculating amount of excess agent used in excess. Like 3 ml of HCl was reagent which is used in excess. So how much extra leftover is calculated by the back titration. Otherwise, sometimes percentage purity also. Understood? Suppose HCl is already 3 ml was present. So that means how much extra CaOH we need to use. Okay. So this formula also I will be giving. Okay, for example, back titration. Just now I have explained, but I am giving you in the form of the formulas. We wanted to titrate the NaOH with the HCl. Okay, but excess HCl was there. Therefore, even after the reaction, HCl was available. But how much extra excess is available, that we don't know. Okay, so how much HCl is extra available after the neutralization? That is titrated again titrated by calcium hydroxide. Okay, actually our aim was to find out equivalents of NaOH or concentration of NaOH. But concentration of NaOH according to this reaction, how many equivalent of HCl added initially minus equivalents of extra HCl left over after the reaction. So this information you will come to know only after reacting the HCl with calcium hydroxide. Okay. So that extra HCl required this much of calcium hydroxide. That means equivalent of calcium hydroxide will be equal to excess HCl left over after the reaction. So this value we will substitute here, then you will get the equivalent of NaOH. I think back titration is now clear. Okay. Okay. Question is 2.68 into 10 to the power of minus 3 moles of an ion in a solution. Okay. See here moles are given. You have to be very careful. Constant volume is not given. Moles is best way. Concentration you need not to find out. Directly equivalent moles you can find out. Okay. So because N1 N into V, it is equivalent moles. Here moles are given directly. You can convert into equivalent moles. 2.68 into 10 to the power of minus 3 moles of an ion in a solution. What is that ion? This. Okay. Requires 1.61 into 10 to the power of minus 3 moles of permanganate KMnO4 for oxidation in acidic medium. See, and this ion after using these many moles converted from N plus to AO3 minus. Then what is the N value? Okay. Basically, you have to find out the equivalent factor. Then you will find out the N value. Okay, lot of practice are required for these questions. Only theory will not work out. Okay, because if you practice more questions, understanding will be more and the accuracy will be more. Okay, so here in this question you are given with AN plus and it is changing to AO3 minus. Okay, so finally we know the oxidation number, and manganese we know the oxidation number in both way, initial and final. It is changing from how I could write because acidic medium is mentioned. So they will not give that reaction. You should write it on your own. Okay. plus 7 to plus 2 changes by 5 and plus n to plus 5. So here it is decreased, therefore it will be obviously increased. That's why 5 minus n I have written. Why it is increased, is it understood? Then equivalent of an plus is equal to equivalent of mn o minus. After titration, it is for everybody. Okay. So equivalence of an plus is equal to equivalence of MnO4 minus. So 5 minus n, that is equivalent factor into moles, equal to equivalent factor into moles. Then if you find out, then n value, how much you will get? N value after simplification you will get 2. Okay. Write down next question. Okay, next question. What will be moles of MnO4 minus ions needed? Okay, needed to react 1 mole of oxalate in, sorry, wait, ferrous oxalate, I think. Okay, it is ferrous oxalate, ferrous. All information is already given to you, and some more questions I will be giving. Okay, especially that back titration questions, double titration questions are very much required. Only theory will not work out. Okay, so ferrous oxalate in acidic medium. Is this understood? Try this question. Acidic medium mentioned, it is very much important, especially when permanganate word is used or MnO4 minus is used. Okay, you can try. Answer will be 3 by 5 moles. Okay, try it now. See here. What will be the moles of MnO4? Here the word, as I told you, acidic medium. So with the acidic medium, see, I could write MnO4 minus to Mn2 plus. Okay, and ferrous here it is oxidation state is changing from plus 2 to plus 3, and oxalate is changing to CO2. These are all already I have explained in the previous lecture. Okay, so one short lecture about the stoichiometry only. So redox, one short redox reaction. Okay, and equivalent weight, those two topics are covered. There I have explained C2O4 will be converted to CO2. Okay, so equivalent factor, how we could find out? 1 from the iron and 2 from the oxalate. Here it will be minus 3, and here it will be plus 4. So plus 3 to plus 4, and in 2 carbon, that's why it is equivalent factor will be 3. Okay, and manganese is simple, it is plus 7 to 2, so equivalent factor will be 5. Okay, equivalent factor will be 5, and 1 mole of, react with 1 mole of ferrous oxalate. So 1 into equivalent factor is how much? 3. 1 into 3, number of moles into equivalent factor will be the equivalent moles. Okay, moles into equivalent factor will be equivalent moles. So equivalents of ferrous oxalate must be equivalents of MnO4. Okay, so let us take number of moles. We want to find out number of moles of this, and equivalent factor is how much? 5. So number of moles we should take it as 3 by 5. That's why answer is how much? 3 by 5. Okay, next to similar question, somewhat complicated, and I am going to cover 2020 advanced examination question also. So try to stay till last. Okay, number of moles of KMnO4 required to oxidize 1 mole of Cu2S. Okay, this is 1 mole, and how many moles we require? Okay, simply in acidic medium, same way it is ready to gain how many electron? 5 electron it is ready to gain. Okay, now here it is copper Cu2S, therefore it will be plus 1. Okay, it is changing from plus 1 to plus 2, so 2 copper are there in each, there will be 1 change. And sulfur sulfur it is -2 and it is +4. So change will be 6 and 6 into 1 6. So total increase will be how much? 8. Okay. So 1 mole of copper. So 1 into 8. 1 mole of copper sulfide into 8. Okay. This require, it can lose 8 electrons and it can gain 5 electrons. So 5 into number of moles. Number of electrons lost by the Cu2s must be equal to number of electron gained by the iron, potassium permanganate. Therefore, number of moles of KMnO4 you should take it as 8 by 5. Then if you take the 8 by 5 moles of KMnO4, then all the 8 electron liberated by the copper sulfate will be accepted by it. Therefore, number of moles we require will be 8 by 5. Okay. Note down this. Some more questions we are going to do. Okay. Next question is, this is also previous advanced question. 0.5 grams of back titration. This question is from the back titration. Okay. Back titration means already I have explained with an example of HCl, NaOH and back titrated with CaOH. Same way here, this mixture K2Cr2O7, KMnO4, both are there. And there in place of the HCl, here I have taken, they have given Ki. And that was back titrated with calcium hydroxide. Now it is back titrated with sodium thiosulfate. Okay. First these two mixture. Okay. K2Cr2O7 plus KMnO4. This total mixture mass is how much? Total mixture mass is equal to 0.5 gram. Let us take this as A, then this will be how much? 0.5 minus A. Okay. Now these are treated with Ki. So it will be liberated iodine, some extra liberated iodine is treated with Na2S2O3. So that amount of iodine used will be directly proportional to this one. Okay. So that means what we can write? Equivalent of K2Cr2O7 plus KMnO4 okay, is equal to equivalent of iodine is equal to equivalent of Na2S2O3, sodium thiosulfate or hypo. Okay. And try this. If you are not able to get, then I will explain. So this is taking place in 3 steps. Okay. Before reaction, this one, product is this one, let it be any steps, but if the reaction is completed, then it should be equal to equivalent moles of all must be same. First, if I am taking this A is the mass by equivalent mass will get equivalent moles. Same way, mass by equivalent mass will get equivalent moles. This is not given, so don't worry. You can directly make it equal to this one. Okay, try. Not getting, then I will explain. Okay, we have taken one mass as A, another mass will be 0.5 minus A. Okay, here mass of K2Cr2O7, we have taken A and its equivalent mass will be 49. Molecular mass divided by 6. How you got 49? Molecular mass divided by 6. Then KMnO4 molecular mass divided by its equivalent factor gave 31.6 and it is its mass. Mass upon equivalent mass, equivalents of equivalent. Because it is a mixture, we are adding plus. Okay. So we are adding both of them because it is a mixture. This amount is used to neutralize both of them. So both of them, that's why it is plus. Here we have used mass upon equivalent mass. Here we are using some other formula, normality into volume. And volume is in milliliter. To convert into liter, I have to divide by 1000. So on simplifying this equation, you will get 0.0732 on simplifying this. But this is not answer. Percentage will be 0.0732. Total mass was 0.5 into 100. Percentage of K2Cr2O7. So this will be 85.36 percentage will get, and the remaining this percentage will be simply 100 minus 85.36, something 14 something you will get. Okay. So this is the answer for this question. Okay. Note down. Okay, here the chemical reaction between stoichiometric quantities of KMnO4 and Ki. Okay, a weakly basic solution. Weakly basic solution means it is neutral. Okay, what is the number of moles of iodine produced for 4 moles of KMnO4 consumed? That means reactant is KMnO4 and Ki. Product is I2. Okay. Here the reaction I am writing in the acid alkaline medium. What it should produce? MnO2. Okay. So the reaction you should write like this: 2 KMnO4 are simply spectator ion. Therefore we can write KMnO4 minus plus 6I minus plus 10 H2O. Okay. 10 H2O gives 2 MnO2. 2 MnO2. How I could understand this is MnO4 minus to MnO2? That is what I told you. A and B. Okay. 5, 3, 1. Here it is 3. MnO2 plus 3I2 plus 20 OH minus. If I write here K, then I can write K here also. Okay. That is not a problem. We should worry about the coefficient of I minus and I2 and MnO4. See, according to this reaction, if I am taking 2 moles, I am gaining 3 moles of iodine. 2 moles of MnO4 minus produces 3 moles of iodine. But how many moles they are taking? 4 moles. So answer will be 6 mole. Okay. So this is the answer, 6 mole. Actually in the basic neutral medium, if it is mentioned, here in place of the I2 will not be produced. It will produce IO3 minus. Here it is clearly mentioned like neutral. Okay. So then IO3 minus. So answer will be 0. If it is neutral medium, answer will be 0. Because I2 will not be produced, that is further oxidized to IO3 minus. That time this answer will be 0. Okay. So this is about the questions related to the titrations. I hope all of you understood, and don't forget to like the video. See you. Bye bye.